So, up next, we have our featured poet. He is one of the founders of the original Asheville Slam at the Green Door. He is the co-founder of Poetry Alive. He is the co-founder of WordFest. Probably helped start the Olympics. 2 truths and a lie. He is the slam master at Lake Eden Arts Festival, and I believe started the slam there. He has been teaching creativity workshops for over 20 years, and is currently teaching here in Asheville, an Artist Way Asheville workshop. He'll be teaching a spring retreat May 6th through May 8th here in Asheville. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to jamesnavé.com or to artistwayasheville.com. Without further ado, help me welcome James Navé.
Tell me how you picked out such a beautiful dress.
Well, I knew I wanted to wear this,
I saw.
so it started here.
Did you debate over the links?
You know, I didn't.
You didn't.
Because I didn't think that I'd be doing any flying kicks as Xena Warrior poet would do.
Well, Zena, could you do one kick for us just to... Could I do... Well, I won't borrow the dress, so we won't worry about the next
I've got more. You know, this is not your color. No problem. John.
Could we have some house lights up, please? And there was a chair somewhere. Yeah. I like that chair. Yeah. Yeah, there's some water in my coat. Would you dig in there and move that out? I love that flower. All right. I don't necessarily need it, though. Actually, try here. Please bring it out. I think so. Thank you very much. Kapia McNary, you started slamming around here a while back. It's spring.
Yay.
I don't really have anything prepared tonight. I brought some poems to read. I have some memorized, some maybe not. And I just wanted to come up here and be with you tonight for really well, there's good reason that we're in this room here tonight. Griffin is now the current slam master, but when he asked me to come and do this feature, I said, well, what should I do? I can come and read my poems. And I will read some. But I'd like to talk to you all just a little bit, because this is an opportunity that I have and you have that we probably won't have again, ever in our lives. And I'd like to talk about the beginning slam here in Asheville. And I'd like to tell you just a little bit about that. We're sitting in this room, and over here is Ginger West and Alan Wolf. If you hang around the slam long enough, you'll hear somebody say, the points are not the point, the points are poetry. Or you'll hear somebody say, the point is not the point is poetry. And if you go on the National Slam Scene website, you'll see that quote. And it appears on all the slam material. Well, Alan wrote that, and Alan coined that. And I want to tell you how the slam got started here in Asheville. And I want to tell you that because you're carrying on that tradition. And there's some people in this room who were at the Green Door when it first got started. And here's how it started. 1991, during the Gulf War, first Gulf War, Alan and I were in Navé, Massachusetts. And we were doing a poetry slam, not a poetry slam. We never heard of the poetry slam. We thought we were the best poets in the nation. We thought we were the smartest things on earth, and we were the greatest performers that ever hit the deck. And the reason why we thought that was because we'd never seen anybody else. And we've been out touring the nation doing performance poetry with Poetry Alive. And for those of you who don't know Poetry Alive, it started here in Nashville. And Bob Falls and I started it. We debuted Poetry Alive in 1984 at Gibbs in Black Mountain. And our object was to memorize poems from the school textbook and perform them as theater. And Alan and I were traveling with Poetry Alive. By that point, between the two of us, how many poems did we have, Alan?
A bajillion.
Everything from the first grade to the 12th grade, we had basically memorized in the school textbook and could just recite it easily, no problem. So here we decided one night we were going to go out to Who Knows Pizza and have a pizza, have a couple of beers after a long, hard day in the elementary school. And we'd been reciting things like, I'm nobody, who are you?
Are you nobody too?
Then there's a pair of us.
Don't tell.
Vanishes, you know.
How dreary to be.
Somebody, how public, to tell one's name,
The livelong day.
to an admiring.
Oh.
We went on and on and on. So after the hard day, reciting poems like that, and others as well. What were some of the others we recited, Al?
Oh, Navé.
Just lots of them.
That's quite a tangent here.
Quite a tangent. We'd gone out for beers and pizza. And a woman named, I think Susan, right?
Yes.
Came up to us and said, you guys are performance boys. And we said, oh yeah, we're performance boys. Riding on our beers and pizzas and egos. And she said, well, you know, there's a show down in Cambridge, Massachusetts, at TT and the Bears tonight. Or it might have been the next one. She said, you guys should go down there and hear these two great performance boys, Ray McNeese and Patricia Smith. Now, again, we thought we were great. So Al and I, the next night, we get on the tram and we ride down to Cambridge. We find TT and the Bears. We go in there and you have all these Harvard people there and you have all these poets gathered around, as you might imagine, poets gathering around in Cambridge near Harvard. So we walk in and there's a guy up there reading his poems. There's the back. Reading the elements of style. Bones of humanity. We cannot ascertain the substance. Couldn't hear a damn thing the guy said. I'm in the back, and I think it was either me or Al said, after he finished his first piece, we said, we can't hear you. That's your problem. Well, I think we're much better than that guy. So this went on a bit, and then finally the MC came out and said, we'd like to introduce two performance boys. Now, back during that time, the slam had just started, and Mark Smith,
So what?
thank you, started the slam. When you say Mark Smith at the slam, everybody yells, so what? In honor of Mark Smith, who started the slam. I'll try it again. Mark Smith, so what? He loves that. Mark Smith had started the slam at Get Me High Cafe in Chicago in 1984, 2 months before or after Poetry Alive started here in Nashville. We didn't know about each other. So Al and I are sitting there, and Patricia Smith, I think it was Ray first. Ray walked out, and if you know Buddy Ray McNeese, you know that guy can rock a house, and he can rock 1,000 people down to their real bones, if you know what I mean. And Buddy Ray just, you know, Al and I were like, wow. Hey, we thought we were the only ones. And then they introduced Patricia Smith. Now, how many of you know Patricia Smith? Clap, 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 clap. Okay, Patricia Smith is, and just, you know, Google Patricia. She defined the poetry slam. Period. No question about it. She's the queen, and she was from the start, and she's now considered still the queen. And she won 4 individual championships back to back, and she and Lisa Buscani fought it out on the stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. Now Patricia's gone on to write poetry books. Last year her book, Blood Dazzler, was nominated for the National Book Award. So Patricia's gone on. So Patricia walks out. Now this woman, equal to Ray Denise, just rocked our socks. And I thought, my God. How will I ever do that? Well, the truth is I never did. But I did get to know Patricia, and we got to know Ray, and that night we went out to dinner. And had a few beers, whatever. We recruited Ray to come work for Poetry Alive. That was the beginning of God knows how many slam poets who came through Poetry Alive. One was Pat Storm. And I mentioned Pat's name because Pat's no longer with us. But Pat was a big force here in Asheville. Another one was Danny Swiss, big pastor. And so that night, Alan Wolf, this guy right here, said, I'm going to go back to Asheville, and I'm going to start a poetry slam. And I said, well, I want to be part of it too. And Al said, well, sure, fine. So he came back to Asheville. He went down to the Green Door. I'm going to pick the story up and sort of paraphrase it a bit. And started the poetry slam down at the Green Door. His wife, Ginger West, also was there, as well as Lee Lancaster. Lee's not with us tonight, but Ginger and Alan are in the house. And Alan started the slam at the Green Door. And I don't remember what the first date was or who. I was there.
It was May 1980, 1992.
May 1992. And so we all gathered at the Green Door to try out. I had never really written poetry before, although I performed lots of poems. And I tried to write poetry, but I asked Buddy Ray, he was there. I said, Ray, how do you be a poet? And he said, well, you just connect. And I'm like, well, that's not much help. Well, just connect and write something and it'll be fine. And I'm like, that's not, okay, fine. So I really started writing poetry because I wanted to be part of this group here. I wanted to be part of the tribe that we're in now. And the reason why we're all here is because we communicate. We communicate from somewhere other than just our hearts and our souls. We communicate beyond that. That's essential. We communicate with our total voices that go into some sort of universal infinity. So the night of the poetry slam, I wanted to win. Everybody wanted to win. And we not heard the point was not the point. The point is poetry. But so we were there to win. So I didn't have a poem. A problem. Really big problem. But not at the poetry slam because the 3 minutes belongs to you. And you can do anything you want in that 3 minutes. So, I put my name on the list. I got up and I improv the poem. Fortunately, the poem was recorded. So I'm going to read that poem tonight. And Kapia said, oh, Navé, this is a great poem. I don't know if it's a great poem or not, but I'll tell you what, it's a significant one for me. Because from that point on, after we started that first slam, Glennis Redmond came through there. You know Glennis? She made her debut at the Poetry Slam down there. We went on to have the 1994 National Championships here, one of the greatest times for the championships because it was still condensed. Had how many teams? 24 teams. Some of the legends of the slam were there. Taylor Molly, Patricia Smith. Who else was there? Just the list goes on.
Solis.
Danny. So when Danny and I were on, we had a team. We came in fourth that year. And if Danny hadn't tried to do a poem for the people, we would have won because he kind of deferred to that. So, well, I don't really want to do my best one. I'll do this one because I want to stand up for my people. We lost. It was all right. So the very first slam, Al calls me up. And I didn't have any idea what to do. So I did this. Have you ever split the air in two? Like this. So I was buying time. Really think of the next line like this. And reached around and grabbed the zipper here and walked back like this. Did you know that's possible? And then you walk to the end where there's a fine point. I'm getting this kind of wrong. Fine point. You reach down and grab the point with both hands, and then you roll it back. Like this. And it gets wider and wider. So here you are. You take this around like this, and you bring it back, so now you have a big opening in the air. It's actually kind of an interesting concept when you think about it. It is possible, you know. Drop it, and you walk back to the middle, which is where I am now, which was not where I was the night I did this. The place where you can step through. Here. Take a deep breath. Walk up to the edge. One foot through the zipper opening, and the other foot through the zipper opening. I'll step back into the light, just pretend I didn't step forward. And there you have it. You are on the other side. And now you might be wondering what one would do on the other side of the air. That's a good question. One might zip it up so no one could ever go back through. One might just stay right here on the other side of the air. Or one might take a deep breath of what is left and step back through. The end. I don't remember what score I got that night, and I think, who won the slam that night, Al?
You got a really high score, I remember.
I got a high score on that.
It was a lot better that night.
I'll read that in
You
honor
were
of
standing
it.
there, you might ask, what would one might do? And we were all knowing that you were trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Exactly. I don't know. So I'm standing there. And I got a really high score, so I get up and tried to improv another one because I was very, happy that I'd got such a high score. Got a very low score on the second improv. It was not as impressive second time round. And I don't remember who won that. It was
Grant Hasty,
Grant Hasty.
who is also not with us anymore.
Grant's not with us anymore. And after that, the slam grew and it grew and it grew. And in 1995, the Asheville Slam team won the national championships. And so Asheville has won one championship. So when Griffin said he's going to try to take a team down to Southern Fried and then take it on, make it to the nationals, this is a brand new re-entry of Asheville back into that scene. So there's a huge, long